What's going on, guys? Charles Weinraub here, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, aka Captain Permit, and today we are talking about structuring a subject-to deal. Okay, so today we're talking about subject-to deal or deal structure. This is an interesting way to structure a deal. It's mostly done in the commercial space, however, you can do it in the residential space in order to protect your downside when trying to get something approved that may or may not happen, okay? So essentially what a subject-to deal is this. You will find a piece of property. I see a piece of property, and let's say I want to build single-family homes on it. So let's say I find a piece of property in Belmore, it's 100 by 100, and there's a lot of houses in the area that are 60 by 100 lot, and there's a lot of houses in the area that are 50 by 100 lot. I would love to knock the house down and subdivide this single family home, this property, demo the single family home, and then build two brand new 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom center hole colonials and sell them. The thing is, since it's not a 60 by 100, I'm not guaranteed that I'm gonna get it. There's a really good shot, but I'm not guaranteed. So I'm not gonna go, and obviously, the seller of their property realizes that the property is worth more if I can build two houses than if it's just one house. So what do? We essentially go under contract, so I put a small amount of money down, preferably, and I go under contract with the property, so I have it locked up, but it's subject to getting the approvals to build whatever it is that I lay out in the contract. And that can be as specific as you want, or it could be as general as you want. And that really depends on your negotiation skills, your attorney, the deal you have with the seller, ultimately how much money the seller is getting, etc. So in this particular simple case, we'll talk about that. So we're gonna go under contract subject to, I'm gonna put down $10,000 on contract, and they're gonna give me a time period where I have to get the approvals to do my subdivision. So I would say, you know what, it takes on average, let's say 6 to 9 months to get approvals. I'm going to ask for a year in order to do this, with extensions in 3-month blocks, assuming that there's delays that aren't related to anything that I've done. And on the flip side, what the seller should do is they should protect themselves, and they should have their attorney put in certain performance milestones that are related to me as the buyer, to make sure that I'm not just dragging ass and not getting this thing done, and their property is sitting there when it could be sold, it could be under contract subject to with somebody else that's more aggressive, that's ultimately gonna get it done. So I put down the down payment, I start doing what I have to do. I go through the entire process of Board of Zoning Appeals, trying to get the subdivisions, I get the plans, I lay out a whole bunch of money. I lay out 10, 15, 20, 30, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, as we'll get to in a minute in the commercial space. And I might get it. If I get it, that's great. As soon as I get it, I close. If I don't get it, I don't have to close, or I can renegotiate with the seller. But if ultimately it ends up not working, I lose money, but only the money I invested in getting the approvals. I didn't have to close on the actual property. So the big thing about this is a low-cost way to lock up a property and control it for, like I said, not a tremendous amount of money, which gives you flexibility. Now, again, that's the simplest way to do it. And you can do that for, you can really do that for any type of deal, but it's mostly common in deals where things are a little bit funky, where you're getting subdivisions or commercial or things like that. But as a wholesaler, if you're really savvy and and can sell very well, you might be able to do that too. Lock it up subject to finding a buyer or whatever that might be. Typically that doesn't work, but it mostly works in subdivisions. Where it's really, really, really popular, which I do a tremendous amount of, is in the commercial space. So, and this really extends to, rezoning, special use, and general permits. I'll give you examples of all things that we've done. So if I have a property that's, let's say, zoned residential, and as a residential property, it's not worth a lot of money. But if I can get this property rezoned to commercial to build something specific, or a group of things, like a certain number of things that I lay out, I could build apartments, I could do this, I could do that in the contract, then it boosts the ROI for me tremendously, and more importantly, I can pay the seller a lot more money. So that's why sellers will engage in things like this, even though it takes a lot of time. Sometimes on Long Island especially, it can take years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in certain cases, but they have the ability to get tremendous upside. A recent deal that I did out in Suffolk County, the property as is was probably worth $1 million, 1.2 million. I went under contract subject to, and the seller got $2.6 million. Huge, huge, huge thing. Now, they had to wait 15 months to get that money, but it's worth it. During that period of time, they had a business that they operated, they made money, everything was fine. So you have the rezoning scenario, like I was just talking about. You have a special use scenario. Let's say that you can get a permit, a special use permit on this particular property to operate a certain type of business. So let's say you have a gas station that you'd like to knock down and you would like to build a Starbucks there. Starbucks loves the location, they want to do it, but you're not guaranteed the special use permit for a drive-through for some type of food scenario. So you're not gonna buy it and Starbucks isn't interested unless they can have a drive-through because hey, it's a drive-through world today, it's 2021. You would go under contract with the owner of the gas station property and they would run their business or remain vacant, whatever it is, subject to getting the approvals for that special use permit. And lastly, just general permits in general. You might have a seller that's not ready to leave, so you might say, you know what, let's go under contract, so once you get in the permits, you operate your business, you do whatever, you have to clear your stuff out, you need time, I need time to structure the financing, get my permits together, so you would go under contract there. And every time you set different time limits, and every time there's certain performance markers, and every time there's certain extensions that are allowed to be exercised, and it really depends. Sometimes you get past a certain point, and these things range. There's times where you could do the deal and there's something called an option that is paid up front, where you pay the seller a flat fee for a certain period of time, or you pay them a monthly retainer. More commonly, it's, once you hit a certain milestone of time, then it could kick in. So like, I've done a deal where I'm supposed to close in 18 months. I didn't because the permit process was super backed up because of COVID. So the seller exercised his right for me to pay him and cover his taxes going forward until the permits get approved. So there's a bunch of different ways to structure these things. In real estate, obviously, there's no rules. You can get as creative as you want, which is why we love it. And this is just one great way to enable you to lock up a deal. A seller can get a tremendous amount more money than what a property is traditionally worth for whatever its use is. And it just benefits everybody as a whole, assuming you can get it done. So we really appreciate you if you've made it this far. Click the like, click the subscribe, leave us a comment. We always like the feedback. We appreciate you, and we see you on the next vlog video.